and welcome to a special edition of DNET, the Disability Network. I'm Susan Pettit-Crossman. This week we'll complete our look at last year's Canada Summer Games. 1993 was a breakthrough year for athletes with disabilities. It was the first time that events for swimmers and track athletes with disabilities were included in this large national multi-sport event. And now, part two of Passing on the Torch by DNET producer Bill McQueen.
The banner carried by Scott Mooney. Et la bannière par Scott Mooney.
It was a learning experience. It was a great experience for all of us on the committee. We got to learn a lot about people's behaviors, learn about people's respect for people with disabilities. We learned a lot about ourselves as far as what we could do as a committee, what we could do as a person to help other people, and as volunteers, because this committee was strictly volunteer based. And we found that with this committee. The things that we planned on worked. The things that we didn't anticipate on, that we tried to do at the last minute, we got by with it, but it wasn't up to how we would have liked to have done it if we would have planned more for it. But for the most part, for a first-time games, first-time accessibility for athletes, I think we did okay.
Rock and roll, guys.
Rock and roll. She's rocking and roll. There's not very many people in Edmonton that do wheelchair track. And then I saw it in '88 at the Seoul Paralympics. I was there playing basketball, and it looked like really fast and something I'd get into. I like speed.
Yeah. It's just amazing.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, and they go really fast. Before my accident, where I got disabled, I was quite into cross-country running and water skiing, just baseball, any sport imaginable kind of thing, volleyball. And then when I found out I was going to be in a chair for the rest of my life, I knew that I still wanted to be active and that it would help me in my recovery.
I was an athlete before my injury, and at the time of my injury I was totally devastated that that part of my life would have to be put aside, because that's all I knew basically was being an athlete. When I found out that I could still be an athlete disabled, I thought, hey, wow, that's great. And I had to spend some time recovering after my serious injury, but once I was able to, I went full blast into compete or into training, and now I'm just starting to compete, and it's great. It's wonderful to be out there and competing. And the hours spent training are just the same as able-bodied athletes. And our jitterbugs just before a race are just the same as any able-bodied athlete, and we go through the same sweat and tears as everybody else. It's the first ever where wheelchair athletes are able to come to the Canada Games, and I think that's fantastic for disabled athletes to be a part of the Canada Games, because the Canada Games are for the amateur athletes that are aspiring to be elite athletes, as what we are. We train hard, and we want to be at that level as being an elite athlete, and to be able to go to the Olympics in Atlanta, Georgia in the next couple of years.
Tracy Ferguson in 3, Vera Buckner in 4, Diane Roy in 5, Shauna Rohanen in 6, Marnie St. Louis in 7. Lane 5, Diane Roy, the number 1 seed. She's gone 34:47 for 200 meters. Lane 5, Diane Roy of Quebec. And in lane 3, it's Tracy Ferguson of Ontario.
À l'arrivée, en première position, numéro 1, du Québec.
If they were anywhere in frame, you're lucky.
Oh, I think it's fabulous. I'm just amazed at how much skill they have when they're going around this track and how fast. just phenomenal.
I just hope that they continue this in the future and that they expand it to more disabled athletes, more programs.
The gold medalist and Canada Games champion from Quebec is Diane Roy. The silver medal winner from Ontario is Tracy Ferguson. La médaille d'argent est remportée par Tracy Ferguson de l'Ontario. The bronze medal winner from Ontario is Vera Buckner. La médaille de bronze est remportée par Vera Buckner de l'Ontario. Ladies and gentlemen, your medal winners in the women's 200-meter wheelchair.
From as far back as I can remember, I've always been interested in sports. I was always a very active child, as my parents will probably agree with that. I played every sport I could possibly play. Anything I can do sports-wise, I just love to do. I did sports able-bodied sports right up till I had the accident. After I had the accident, with a lot of new disabilities, you're not sure what you can and can't do. You don't know what your limitations are now. And it just takes meeting the right people for the sports. The plan for today is I compete at 12:25 in the semifinals, and I'll be done shortly after 1 sometime. And from there, I'm meeting up with some teammates to watch some other teammates compete. All right, all right. Come on, Meyer! Let's go, Carl! Go,
What was your strategy?
Just try to keep on drafting until I come around that back corner and then hit it. Pass him. And then give everything I had.
Was there any close calls, or was there any doubt that you were in the beginning?
Oh, there was a lot of doubt in that last corner. I could hear him pushing behind me, and then as soon as I got about probably 10 feet from the end, I knew I was headed.
When I first found out I was coming to the Canada Games, I felt like I was finally getting recognition. It was great. I am being considered one of the best athletes in the province to represent BC, to compete against the rest of Canada, to see how we could do.
Men's 200-meter wheelchair final.
Lane 3, Andre de Rossier of Quebec, and lane 6, Jean-Thomas Boilly of Quebec. Lane 6, Jean-Thomas Boilly of Quebec. Second in 800 meters. Coming hard in lane 3, Andre de Rossier of Quebec. De Rossier of Quebec, and then lane 5, Herve Lord of Ontario.
It can be dog eat dog out there. And then you cross the finish line and everybody's best friends.
Wonderful racing in the 200-meter wheelchair event. Elle serait à l'arrivée, mais Herve Lord de l'Ontario avec Jean-Thomas Boilly et André Told you we'd go far.
It's a big family. Like, it doesn't matter if you compete in chair or you're running. You're here to do your best and you're here to compete, so it doesn't mean anything if you're in a wheelchair or if you're running, standing up. So, hey, you're here to compete. That's all that matters. If you're here, it's because you train hard enough to be here. So.
We can see that there is more and more integration happening for people with disabilities, as well as for able-bodied people. So that gives us an opportunity to promote our sport and to gain recognition as athletes.
I'm very pleased with my 200-meter performance. I ended up 7th out of 17 racers. My time wasn't a personal best, but I was still pleased with it. I had a personal best in my 800 yesterday, so I'm very pleased with that. For a year and a half racing, I've learned a lot. I have a long ways to go to get to this level and then get to the national level, but I'm very confident that I will eventually reach it if I keep up with my pace that I'm setting now, my training and the grueling workouts that I'm going through and going to the big races and getting blown away, so to speak. And I'm losing, but I'm learning a lot.
I mean, they're pretty good. The kids in that room are pretty good. I mean, it might be 4 or 9, but they're good group.
A really good mental tool is positive self-talk. If you can just dwell within yourself and go like, this is my race, I'm going to do this. And I found that a lot of times too is you can't look at your competition and go, oh no, like so-and-so is here or anything like that, because it doesn't matter. You're there to do your best.
Tracy Ferguson, Ontario. Diane Roy.
Are you excited about this whole thing? I mean, it was a great race, and you get a gold medal out of it.
Oh, I'm extremely happy. I like the middle distance. The 8 and the 15 are what I like best, so this was just perfect for me. This is a race I've been waiting for ever since I got here, so I'm really happy with my performance. I've had a great time. This is one of the best set of games I've ever been to in my life. So, and Diane had a great race as well. It was a tough battle.
The silver medalist from Quebec is Diane Roy.
Est-ce que tu es contente ou un peu déçue de ta deuxième position?
Beaucoup déçue.
T'as mené de bout en bout, enfin presque, hein?
Ben c'est ça, j'ai essayé de
I would have liked to have done some drafting, so I wouldn't get tired out. So I kept waiting for someone to come in front of me so I could take a little break, but nobody ever did. Then I just said, I'd better keep on going, and I got burned out. And then the person who came in first overtook me.
à me rattraper.
The bronze medalist from Alberta, la médaille de bronze de l'Alberta, Marnie Saint-Louis.
I gained a tremendous amount. I gained the self-confidence that I can go out there and I can do this, that I'm competing with some of the best in Canada, and I think that's fantastic, that to be up there.
Okay, first, when you push, when you're pushing a sports chair, you use a lot of your arms.
Right.
When you notice your head bobs a little bit, when you really get going.
Yeah.
What are you doing with your stroke? Every time you stroke, when you come up, you're up, and when you go down, it's your whole body.
Should I bring my shoulders back to here? Or
it's a matter of, it's
like
hard
when
to
I
do in this
fall
chair.
through?
I'll do it like, okay, you're just going on the downstroke there,
Yeah.
up.
So I'm bringing
Always
my
keep
shoulder.
your head down because you want to try and keep an aerodynamic. Your thumb up on top here, like this.
Yeah.
That finger in there,
Down.
like that. And you want to kick out like that and bring it up high, right like that.
And then back down here.
And then back down.
To here. And then
Yeah,
kick.
keep your thumb on the outside. So it's like that, and kick off back here and up high. For on the track, for a short distance, you want to get your speed up as quickly as possible. So you'll use a short, choppy stroke, which will be, it won't
Just
be
to
like that,
here?
it'll be just like a piston. A piston arm will be going like that, eh? Really, really quickly.
Tracy Ferguson, Ontario.
You really want to push hard in a race on the track on the corners. Good. Stroke. Stroke. Remember to steer it around there. You don't want to crash.
Well done. Well done. Erica Forster, triple jump. 12:55 to 12:56.
I totally got lucky. I met the right people for the sports. And they showed me what I can do for sports-wise and how far I can go. And that turned me around a lot. I'm just glad that I do have my sports.
Ranked number 5 prior to this event, Michelle Hastic.
Basically, your guide runner is your eyes on the track, pretty much. They tell you, where you are on the track. When you're running around a track, you're always going left. So he would tap my elbow every time there's a curve, and also he usually says curve too. And so communication is very important, both verbally and physically.
Monty Lilburn of British Columbia, Derek Fournier, Nova Scotia, Jerry Warlow of Saskatchewan, Jason Doug Ripley of Ontario. Go, Jason! Down to the line.
Maintenant, Doug Ripley dans le 6e trou wild de la Colombie britannique. Doug Ripley ran 57.63 in the qualifying round. Doug Ripley in the line. Officially just over 56 seconds. 56.7 seconds in excellent performance for Doug Ripley, unofficially followed by Dean Bozak of Alberta. That concludes the two-time final only Doug Ripley. Final results, and that concludes the competitive portion of this event.
Doug, that's a magnificent looking medal.
Yeah, thanks. That looks good.
How do you feel about being the first blind runner in Canada to receive a gold medal?
It feels great. Yeah, I was hoping for it, and after the qualifying, I felt pretty good, but I was a little worried because there were pretty fast times up there. So.
Did you better your own best time?
Yeah. I got a best time in qualifying, and I beat it in the final. It's been a great time here. I've really liked it, and all we need is more people, blind people out here, and we could count these for points for our teams.
What this games did was it opened a lot of people's eyes to the fact that disabled competitors are very exciting athletes to watch, because there's a high level of competition, because they had incredible qualities. They train a lot, and they can become elite athletes. With the way that the games were integrated with the able-bodied and the disabled, there was like an able-bodied event, and then they had an 800 wheelchair event, and then they had another able-bodied event. The applause was enormous. People were applauding from the moment that these athletes left the starting line to the moment the athletes crossed the finish line. But for the most part, the athletes, they were giving us hugs. They were happy. They said that this was the best competition. I had one athlete say to me that this was the best competition that they had been to, with the best accessibility, that they could totally focus on their game, and that made me smile, because that's what I wanted to do.
I think we really have to build
back home now with the excitement that has been generated this week for our athletes. Like, they are excited to be here. Now we have to go home and work with them to help their particular organization at home build for the next cycle.
Les gens vont sûrement faire un compte rendu suite aux Jeux.
After the games, people are going to look at what athletes have demonstrated in the competitions and will make a positive assessment. And we've proven we can compete, so I think that this will give us a chance to launch wheelchair sports, and after that, we'll be able to overcome political and psychological barriers.
But everyone has to become aware of the problems, and you still see lapses. You still see moments where senior officials aren't fully concentrating. They're trying, but because of their previous lack of awareness, it means that they have to step over a huge gulf in one leap. I'd say they've got about halfway there.
I can assure you that we'll see within the next game or the next 2 games, full contingent from everybody in all the sports that that the council has already put in place. Like, meaning by that, swimming, track in summer, and in winter, basketball and skiing.
When you start inclusion and considering a team as a team, you don't necessarily go through all of the things and find out what all of the implications are. So we certainly have something to do there in making sure that the public at large, and particularly the athletes, know what their expectations should be, or we have an understanding what their expectations are and are able to react to them.
We want to make sure that from future Canada Games has our reports and our recommendations so that they can work through to fine-tune. I mean, this is the first year, so eventual years it can only get better.
Beyond just a pure competition, I think the inclusion of people with disabilities is absolutely consistent with the spirit of the Canada Games and of this unique national event. And I think it's nothing but a good move for the future to have those people included, and so not only will we have participation from all parts of Canada, but from all people in Canada.
I'm proud to be a citizen of Kamloops for the hard work that every volunteer in this town put out. Like, and it was kind of sad yesterday when they had the closing ceremonies and they put the torch out. I got a bit of a glitch in my eye. I thought, this is over. All that work, and it's over. It was kind of sad to see it go out. We'll just carry the torch within our own community. And we'll continue on beyond the games.
That's our show. I'm Susan Pettit-Crossman, and from all of us at DNet, we'd like to wish all of you a very happy New Year. And now, here's our address. Disability Network, CBC, Box 500, Station A, Toronto, M5W1E6. This program is brought to you in part by the Centre for Independent Living in Toronto and the Canadian Association of Independent Living Centres.
There we go. There's one.